Hey everyone, Dr. Brian Schwabe here with the Student Physical Therapist. Today I want to go through basically a week in the life of a PT entrepreneur. I had a student who's been taking my PT entrepreneur course recently asked me, how do you structure your week to week or your day to day when you're trying to do multiple different businesses as a PT entrepreneur? So I thought it'd be interesting to put together basically like a short video day by day and give tips along the way of kind of how I structure my own days. Because I do work a full-time job in addition to doing some personal training, courses, video work, things like that. So I'm going to take you through each one of my days. Today happens to be a Thursday. I just finished up with one client in Encino, which is up north past Los Angeles, just a little bit. I just got to Beverly Hills now. And the way that I'm doing it is I typically structure all my training clients near each other so that I don't have to drive around too much. So I have 3 more training clients today. They're all in Beverly Hills and they're all within about a mile of each other. So I'm pretty lucky right now. And most of my clients are actually pretty close by, but I try to structure them as close as possible within maybe 15 to 20 minutes of each other. That way I'm not driving around too much. I'm not wasting time. And, the further their client is, the more I do charge. But typically I charge anywhere from $150 to $250 an hour. So doing a couple of them adds up over time. So today's my Thursday. I had clinic in the morning from basically 8 to noon, and I just finished up with client number 1 from 2:30 to 3:30. It's about 4 o'clock now, so I have 3 more hours of clients in a row, and then I'm done for the day. I'll keep checking back in between clients, and on some of the drives, I'll try to give some tips along the way as I'm doing this, and hopefully you guys get some things out of this. More importantly, it just gets you stimulated to think about how to structure your own journey as a PT entrepreneur. All right, guys, I just finished my last client for the night. So it's a little bit darker out now. I don't know if you guys can see out there, but finished for the night. Had 4 clients today. A little tip, if you're seeing clients, and by the way, all my clients are training clients. I don't do physical therapy clients. A little tip is try to schedule them around each other, but more importantly, try to schedule them out a week in advance, right? So if it's a good session, try to schedule them out and be like, hey, do you want to do it again next week at same time, right? And try to book them ahead of time and commit them to that, because they're going to find more value in that consistency over time, and then that's going to be part of their routine. So tip of the day is, try to space people out next to each other if you're going to see multiple clients in the same area, so that you can save your own time, maximize your value, and that way as well, when you're working with these clients, you can try to get the same times each week and make it easy so that you have a schedule as well. So that's it for today. We'll check back in tomorrow, and I'll give you some more tips. Hey everyone, it's Saturday. Going through my first client of the day. I'm in Santa Monica right now. So today I'm going to give you guys a few tips on basically how to price out yourself for some of these trips, and some other different ways that you can earn income as a PT entrepreneur. So each time I'll try to give you a little bit more tips and information. You guys should see this view. It's pretty amazing right now. Got the ocean right there. So not a bad Saturday morning. Again, I'll give you guys as many tips as possible today, and we'll go through how to price yourself out and how to, defend your prices, how to, add value to your prices so that people are willing to pay you for your services. All right, we'll talk soon. All right, so heading to the second client right now. Want to give you a little tip on pricing, right? So a lot of times you'll underprice yourself, and that's an issue, because if you're going to be doing some house calls, or actually any endeavor that you do as a PT entrepreneur, you really need to price yourself appropriately. And when I say that, I mean you actually need to probably price yourself higher than you think. So let's say, for example, you make $50 an hour as a PT in the clinic, right? I know I'm just doing a round number. I know some of it's 40, some of it's 45, whatever it may be. If you're doing 50 an hour in the clinic, you should be doing at least probably 150 minimum as a PT entrepreneur if you're doing house calls, whether it's training or physical therapy. Again, I just do training personally, just I don't want the liability. But the reason I say that is because if you think about it, you're traveling, so you're probably going to travel at least a minimum of a half hour in each direction. So now that's 2 hours of your time, and then prep time is probably another hour. So you got to do 50 times 3, right? That's just a baseline, and that's not including mileage or anything else. So personally, what I do is I include that time that I have to travel in my pricing. And then when people ask me, it's like, well, it's the time I have to go travel to you is what is included in that price. In addition to the prep, you having my phone number, my cell phone, me making a program for you. So again, you can add value constantly to that price, so that if you charge $250 like I do with a lot of my clients, now I have a reason for doing it. It's not only the drive time, but it's also the prep, as well as just the time traveling, the time actually doing stuff, and then them getting my phone number if they want to text me along the way, which does cost a little bit of time for me, but not a big deal, but it adds value to them. So just something to think about when you're actually trying to price yourself out, because I think that's the biggest hurdle for a lot of people trying to do extra side work on weekends or on their time off and things like that. So just another tip on pricing yourself appropriately as a physical therapist or a trainer or just an entrepreneur, depending on what you're doing. All right, so I just finished my last client for the day. Another tip, I worked with this one client for the last 6 months during quarantine. He's a high school baseball player, and he's trying to, increase his velocity. So one of the things I'll tell you, and this is for all my training clients, make sure you listen to what they specifically want and what they think they need, because even though you might think they need something different, understand that to build a relationship and to build a proper training program or be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to meet their expectations in some capacity. I'm not saying that you're going to do something that you don't believe in completely, right? Like if someone asked me to do cupping, I'm really against cupping, for example, then no, I'm not going to do cupping. But if there's other things where like it's a give and take, it's something you need to do. And I think that's important to understand when you're trying to sell a service or anything else, is make sure you meet their expectations. So if you meet their expectations over time, you'll be able to implement what you actually think they need more and more, and they'll start to give you more trust and gain your understanding of why you're trying to give them something. So today was another breakthrough with this kid, and just trying to get him to understand how to dissociate his hips from his thoracic spine and shoulders with some of his pitching motions, just from a training aspect. Of course, I'm not a pitching coach, but before, if I would have started that in the beginning, there was just no way he was going to be able to understand that or want to do that. And now he's gotten to a point because I'm giving him some improvements with some things that we've gone through, while also meeting his expectations, that he keeps wanting to do more and more training. So I've advanced my services with him and his family to a point where I've built training programs where I get paid for it. I get paid for when I go there. I get paid for watching some of his videos that his parents will send me. They want to pay me for his time now, for my time now. So there's different ways that you can add services by just, again, meeting their expectations. So that's the end of today. Hopefully you guys got a few tips on how to price yourself out and just adding value. Hey everyone, Dr. Brian Schwabe here again. So today is Sunday. I have a virtual client in about 20 minutes, and then I have one in-person client today. So today's a little bit different from yesterday. I'm only taking one in-person client today for training. So virtual is something that I do quite a bit as well. It's slowed down a little bit recently because people are starting to want to do a few things in person again, with, of course, N95 masks. But virtual training is something I still do quite a bit, 3-4 times a week. And that's what I was doing for most of the first half of the year. And it's something that I feel like it's easy to scale and is great for when you don't want to go to people's houses, or you want to have another viable business that is easy to do just from your home. So the key with virtual training, in my opinion, is that you have a client or clients that know exactly what they're getting. So when you do virtual training, obviously your prices can still be fairly high if you want them to. It just depends on the client, right? So if you're going to write them a program on top of doing a program with them in person and giving them feedback along the way, then your value's higher, so you can charge something higher. If you're just going to be working them out and counting sets and reps, you're not going to be able to charge a lot for that. People aren't going to want that. So you got to make sure that you add value to your virtual training to make sure that they're getting enough out of it. So maybe you do an assessment video with them for like a consultation for free, and then based off of that, you write an individual program for them so they see the value, for example. So that's just one example of ways that you can add virtual training and try to get more value out of that for them, as well as raise your prices a little bit if you are going to do some virtual training. Another thing I want to show you today, just because it is Sunday, so every Sunday I check some of my royalties from my book. It's another way that you can earn income is if you create, a book and you do a royalty deal where, when it's being sold from affiliates, you can earn income while you're basically sleeping. So, this is an example of just 1 week. I'll show you real quickly. So as you can see, not a ton, but, still money while I'm sleeping. So, there was 12 and 10 and 10, so about 30 something dollars for the last couple weeks of again, just doing nothing. Sometimes that shows up and it's $150, or sometimes it's $0, as you can see. So it's all over the place with that, but I wanted to be as transparent as possible during this week to show you just what it looks like on a real scale for being a PT entrepreneur. Again, these are things that I teach in my course as well, just so that people that do want to take that next step and want to learn exactly step-by-step processes of setting those businesses up, they know how to do them. So again, I have a virtual client, and then I will go back on video and give you a few tips and more for my in-person client when I head there later. Take care. All right, so it's Sunday right now. Just had the virtual client. I know we talked briefly about virtual clients before this. I took one in-person client today here in Beverly Hills. It's someone that I work with pretty consistently. That's the only reason why I did that. And the key with this is when you're working with people in person, try to get them to schedule out as much as possible, especially when they're busy people like this person is. This person happens to be your quote-unquote celebrity, so he's always busy doing a million things. But if you can get them to schedule ahead and commit to a time, then it makes your life a lot easier. I made that mistake pretty early on, and it's a lesson to learn when you're working with this type of client, right? Whether it's a CEO or just some type of busy person. It doesn't have to be a celebrity or musician or anything like that, but try to keep them on a schedule as much as possible. Because one, just like the other clients that we've talked about, recently, like on my Thursday or Saturday, for example, you want to book them as much as possible around other people. This is probably the one time I don't do it for this particular client, just because of his schedule, and because on a Sunday I don't really hit traffic, so it doesn't bother me too much. Just one client at night, and that's it. So again, that's your tip for right now, is just try to schedule them out as much as possible and get them to commit to a time if you're working with these very busy CEO types, musician types, celebrity types, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to hold them accountable, and it's also going to tell them you're very serious and professional about things. So hold them to it. Make sure that you respect your time, make sure you respect your own schedule, and if they try to change it up on you, make sure that you have some type of policy in place to let them know that you have to charge a cancellation fee or something. So just things to consider for these type of clients, because they will cancel quite often unless you hold them accountable. All right, I just finished my only client for today on Sunday, and just triggered a thought because we handle payment today. So there's a lot of different ways you can handle payment, but I think the key is trying to be as consistent as possible with handling payment. So for example, this particular client, he wants me to send him an invoice to his manager every time, right? That's fine, that's easy. So there's a couple ways you can handle payment if you're going to send invoices, right? You can make your own invoice. Word documents are super easy to create invoices that are already pre-made templates, and if you're going to send it through an email, right? However, PayPal also allows you to create an invoice. The only thing with that is sometimes they will charge you a small fee for every invoice you send if you're going to use PayPal, right? Similar with taking credit cards, right? So credit cards are great if you can get a credit card reader, but they're going to take a little bit of your money as well. So this is where thinking about how much you're going to charge has to come into play as well if you're going to use one of those forms of payments. Obviously you can take cash, check, all those things, but again, just use whatever system is most comfortable for you and the client and makes it easy for them so that you can be consistent. Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Coming back on the video today just to kind of give you some more tips on a weekend in the life of a PT entrepreneur. So today's Tuesday, which means that this morning I went to the clinic for a couple hours, but I also on Tuesdays do videos for a company called Paleo Hacks, meaning that I take over their Instagram stories and I go through some type of fitness tips or just some mobility or just general rehabilitation tips, and they pay me for it. So this is something I've done for the last 3.5, 4 years. I do it for their Facebook Lives. I also do it for their Instagram stories. It's another way to get paid, and they usually pay pretty well. They usually pay at least $100 minimum. So you can get more than that too. You know, I get anywhere from $100 to $200 for each posting that I do. It depends if it's Facebook Live or if it's Instagram. So I want to give you an example of what that looks like. And then later on, I will go to 2 training clients as well today, one in Santa Monica and one in Beverly Hills. Again, I space them out right next to each other. So I got one at 3:30 and one at 5 o'clock. And lastly, today is the 1st, which means that every month on the 1st, I upload additional videos for our Student Physical Therapist Insider Access page. That's just what we do every single month for our membership, for our members. And that'll be, a couple minutes of work on that. So let me show you a little bit about what the Paleo Hacks looks like, just so you can see what that looks like from your perspective. So I'm gonna turn this around real quick. So it's just me going through basically just a bunch of just basic mobility topics and teaching people just the ins and outs of things. And I always have a disclaimer for this. But I give general advice. I always, say to see a physical therapist in person. Again, it's me showing a couple exercises like a thoracic spine opener, going through some just basic rotator cuff exercises, mobility exercises. And it just, basically it just adds value to this company. So, these are examples of things that I do. It doesn't take that long for me to put together. I get to promote myself as well. And, most importantly, it gives me some extra income. So that's one way that you can earn income as a PT entrepreneur as well. I talk a lot about that in my course about how to break into that industry, because there are plenty of companies, especially right now, that are looking for people because everybody is online. So there are companies, believe it or not, during this time that actually have too much cash, and they're looking to grow their presence even more. So again, Paleo Hacks is a bigger company. I've worked with them for a while. I've created a book through them. I've done studio shoots to them. They just, they like what I've done, and more importantly, I'm authentic. I give sound advice, but I'm not gimmicky with what I do. So their particular audience really enjoys the mobility stuff, learning about how to take care of their bodies because they're health conscious. And that's really what you need to know when you're targeting some of these companies going forward, and how to pitch yourself. So again, those are things that I teach in my course. Like I said, it's too long to talk about how to pitch yourself and how to land those things. But I just want to show you again what actually goes on in the week of a PT entrepreneur. So we'll check back in when I go to some of the clients' houses later, and I'll give you more tips on that. All right, guys, coming back on the video today. It's, again, just a reminder, today is Tuesday. I had the clinic this morning. I did the Instagram stories for Paleo Hacks, and then I just finished up with 2 of my clients. I had one in Santa Monica. I'm in Beverly Hills right now. I just finished up with that one. And a little tip, this was something that came up today, and it just kind of sparked my brain. I had a client that I started recently working with in Santa Monica for training, and he's pretty eager about it. And, I always leave a little bit in the tank just to make sure that, they have a good response. But he really wanted to go again on Thursday. But I don't think it's appropriate for him to go Thursday because we just started going again. I want to make sure that he's, having a good response and not overtraining. And the tip for that is don't get too, I don't want to say greedy is the right word, but, make sure that you're doing what's right for your clients, and they're going to appreciate that more and more because they know it's not just about business, it's about building that relationship with them and doing it right for what they need. So, tip of the day is just, do what you think is best for them, and the business will keep coming. I've had a lot of success because I've been authentic and because I don't get too greedy with things, and I don't try to overbook people or pressure people too much. I give them what I think they need, and then I let them make that decision, and I let my work speak for itself and getting them to buy in over time, because I build a relationship with them. So that's your tip for today. Tomorrow I'll try to bring you some more tips as this PT Entrepreneur Week continues. Okay guys, it's Thursday again, so it's the end of the week for our PT Entrepreneur Week, because we started it last Thursday. I just finished up my first client of the day. It's 3:30 about right now. So I had my first client from 2:15 to 3:15 in Santa Monica, and I'm heading to Beverly Hills now. I have about 40 minutes. By the time I get there, I'll have probably about 20 minutes to relax before my next one. And then I have two back-to-backs about 30 seconds apart, so I'm pretty lucky. I'm one at 4, one at 5, and then I'm done for the day. But what you didn't see, and I'll try to do like a recap video later on, is I had a course sale today. That's another way I earn income as a PT entrepreneur, is through courses. Someone bought one of my packages, which is the PT Entrepreneur course, the PT Consulting course, and Return to Sport Essentials course. So today's another example of different ways that you can earn income as a physical therapist entrepreneur, right? Doing some training today, course sales, had clinic this morning, and that's not a bad day. So I'll try to give you some tips along the way in between clients, and then I'll do a recap video for the entire week, and also show you my schedule specifically, so you can see kind of how it is written down, and we'll go from there. Hopes this helps. All right, so I just finished my last two clients for the night. I'm heading back to the house now. So I had 3 clients today, 1 in Santa Monica, 2 in Beverly Hills. And, this kind of concludes the week in the life of a PT entrepreneur. Again, I'll kind of do a summarizing video now of kind of, some of the things that we talked about, how to price yourself out, things to think about with clients, with cancellation fees, how to schedule clients around each other, things like that we learned a little bit this week. And then I know we briefly touched upon, other ways that you can earn income, with book royalties and course sales and virtual training, which I did once or twice, and things like that. But I know we didn't get to go into super in-depth with that, just because most of this past week has been more training clients in person, which just earns me a lot of income. So we focus a little bit more on that, and the rest of it's been more passive. The course sales are passive, the book royalties are passive. Virtual training is obviously something active as well. That is an easy way to make money. What we haven't talked about is consulting, and that's just because I'm not consulting right now, because the gyms that I was consulting at are all shut down in California. So this is why I think it's such an important thing as a PT entrepreneur to basically, really have multiple streams of income, because you never know when one of them is going to fall out. And it's nice to have additional backups and ones that you can keep scaling, right? And that's really the key of being a PT entrepreneur, is you can scale multiple different businesses. One might be more scalable at one time, and you have to focus on that, and then the other one might fall off, and another one might have to be scaled up again. So a lot of different ways that you can earn income as a PT entrepreneur. I'll try to give you some more tips along the way. I hope this week in the life of a PT entrepreneur helped you. And like I said, I'll do a summarizing video, but if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I hope this helped. Back to a week in the life of a PT entrepreneur. Again, this kind of concludes the week. I said I would share my schedule with you to kind of give you a general idea of what it looks like. And I want to show you this in a minute, but just to kind of recap everything I've done this week. It's been a lot of training clients, just where my businesses are right now. A lot of them have been in person. Again, wearing those N95 masks as much as possible. I have some pretty safe clients. We do things outside and in their home gym, so I feel pretty good about that. But I've done a couple virtual clients as well. And then also I've done a Paleo Hacks Instagram story. I've had to check my royalty payments for my ebook that I have with Paleo Hacks that I showed you guys. I have made a course sale. And then I've also done an upload for the Student Physical Therapist Insider Access page that we do for our members every single month, and checked a few things there. So it's been a busy week because I do work a clinic job as well, 40 hours a week. So This will give you just a general idea of what my schedule looks like, and maybe hopefully just kind of spark your brain for whatever works for you guys if you guys are interested in this. So I'm going to show you this real quick, and then we'll wrap up the video. All right, so this was, we started on Thursday, as you can see. So I do clinic in the mornings on Thursdays. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do full days. Tuesday, Thursdays, I do half days. And I've been lucky to be able to have that ability to change my schedule so that I could accommodate whatever I wanted to. And as you can see, I've had 4 training clients on this first day. One's in Encino. That was the furthest one away, so I did that first because it took the longest to get to. From Encino to Beverly Hills, it really doesn't take too long, about a half hour tops, which is why you have a gap there. But I'm lucky that these 3 clients are all within 30 seconds of each other in Beverly Hills, literally down the street. So I was really lucky I could just do back-to-back-to-backs within, a minute of each other, and didn't really have to change the time at all. So that was a pretty busy day. Clinic in the mornings, or clinic on Fridays, is just full blown all day. I'm not doing anything else entrepreneur wise. It's 100% just my full-time job. And then Saturday hits, right? So Saturday in the mornings, I'd like to try to get all my clients in. This was a busier day for me because I hit 4 clients. Luckily, this is a family, so I hit them 1, 2, or 3 in a row. So I went from Santa Monica to Pacific Palisades, and again, that's not too bad of a drive, so I just left a half-hour gap in between. But again, I think the theme of what I've been trying to tell you guys is if you're going to do clients, really try to book them very close to each other to make it worthwhile if you have multiple clients. Sunday, I had some virtual clients in the morning. I did a tag team with a family, same one from yesterday. And then Beverly Hills client that I saw on Thursday, I saw him again on Sunday. He's really the only one that I make an exception for Sundays because it's so late, but that's just the time that he's usually up. And then again, Sunday, I checked my book royalties. I think I showed you guys how that works, and I think it was like $30 for the last couple weeks or something like that. So not a big week with that necessarily, but again, it's just money that comes in. And then I checked my TSPT Insider Access, and I uploaded a video. And then to continue the week, we work into the first week of September, basically. So Monday, again, just Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays are completely clinic-driven days. They're 10 to 11-hour days, so those are long days. I'm a lead physical therapist at the clinic, meaning I'm basically a small-time clinic director at this clinic. So that keeps me very busy. Tuesdays and Thursdays, again, I'm in the clinic half the day. On Tuesdays, I upload a Paleo Hacks Instagram story every single week, which, again, pays me additional income. And then I had 2 training clients in the afternoon. So I had one in Santa Monica and one in Beverly Hills. Again, I kept them pretty close to each other. It takes about a half hour in between, so I had about a half hour to chill that day. And then for Thursday, to kind of wrap up this week in the life of a PT entrepreneur, again, same thing, clinic in the morning and then training clients all within a couple hours of each other, or within about a half hour of each other. So Santa Monica to Beverly Hills, back-to-back ones in Beverly Hills that are close by. So as you can see, I keep the times pretty consistent for a lot of my training clients and basically keep them on a schedule because that's better for me, it's better for them. And most importantly, it allows me to have flexibility in my schedule to kind of schedule out as much as I can. And overall, what that does for me is it allows me to be as profitable as possible. I won't lie, they're very exhausting days and long days, but that's just where my businesses are right now. Before COVID, it was a lot of consulting, and those were on Saturdays for a couple hours, which made up a big chunk of my income. I still do personal training. Course sales are another thing that I do. I do specific launches every couple months for the most part. I don't like to just bombard people with just courses all the time. So I have courses on how to become a physical therapy consultant, for example, how to become a physical therapist entrepreneur and learn how to create a book. Learn how to do Paleo Hacks Instagram stories like I did, which was super easy. How to get paid for those things, how to get paid for Facebook Lives, how to do studio shoots in full-blown studios where you do video work for different companies. Basically how to do training clients, how to set that up, how to set up virtual training clients, and then how to create your own courses if you want to do that, how to create your own books, what to think about with, creating your own book and publishing yourself as a self-publisher versus hooking up with a company like Paleo Hacks where They basically just gave me an upfront amount of money, which was a couple $1,000s, and then gave me royalties on the back end, meaning that I got a percentage of every single sale, but I didn't have to do anything for those sales. They would create the sales pages, things like that. So again, there's just so many different ways to make money as a physical therapist, and I think that most of the time we're stuck in this position where we feel like it's only the clinic, but it's not. So this is just, again, one example of what I've been doing during this COVID time. It's kept me in some ways more busy than I've ever been before, but I'm thankful that, I've had multiple different businesses where I can transition from one to another if I need to, like I have with training for the most part. And I hope this, week in the life of a PT entrepreneur just gave you just a little glimpse of what I do and how, maybe that can spark ideas for yourself. And again, this was mainly for that student that reached out to me, and I just thought I'd put something together on the fly and see if that gave you guys a little bit of information and helped you out. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram or on my email, bschwabedpt@gmail.com.